Today I am starting on an industrial estate in Exeter. I'm heading down to Plymouth to load, and then I'm going to take that up to Stockton-on-Tees. I tend to avoid filming my long distance days just because I feel like they'd be a bit boring because it's just driving. But I'm hoping something interesting will happen today. The first job of the morning, as always, is my walk around checks, making sure that everything is safe and secure for today's work. It's a little bit chilly today and the mornings seem to be getting darker and darker, but I've got my trusty cup of tea and we are ready to go. I head out of the industrial estate and onto the M5 southbound to head down to the quarry that I'm loading from in Plymouth. This journey will take me around an hour. At the end of the M5 I split onto the A38 and up Telegraph Hill, and as I'm empty I fly up there. I leave the A38 just before the main Plymouth junction and head up to the quarry, which should take me around 15 minutes. As I'm heading up there for when all the quarries open, I shouldn't meet any lorries coming the other way. I'm up at the quarry now in the queue and I'm about 15 minutes early, so I'm going to probably make a cup of tea. I can't film much in here, but to be fair, it is so foggy up here that I don't think you'd see anything anyway. I have around 4 other trucks in front of me, so I will have to wait for them to weigh in before I can weigh in. But generally, it doesn't take too long in here. I've weighed in now, had a little chat with Sue on the weighbridge about my house because she always asks. I've pulled round to the wash, put all my PPE on and washed out the back of my trailer, which I really like about this place is that we can wash out, because my last load was wheat. It just puts my mind at rest that I've got every grain of wheat out of the trailer. Up to where I'm loading and I just need to wait for them to test the moisture of the product. I think my truck might get a bit dirty in here. I've been overloaded by 1/4 ton, so I'm going to have to tip off a little bit. I'm not sure if the loader's quite new, I've never seen them before. Normally they are really accurate in here and very, very rarely do you ever have to tip off. All sorted and back to the weighbridge to be given the green light to go. Well, that's me all weighed out finally, so it's off to Stockton-on-Tees. There is still a thick layer of fog up here as I head back down to the A38, but I still managed to spot the sheep up here grazing on Dartmoor. I head back up the A38 going northbound, and because I'm fully loaded, I am a bit slower on the hills. I carry on north once I meet the M5 and I head into Sedgemoor Services for a drop of fuel. I stretch the pipe across to save time because the middle lane is out of action. The height sign seems to have come loose, which is a bit ironic really. Then it's back out onto the M5 to use up the rest of my 4.5 hours driving before I have to stop for a legally required 45-minute break. I managed to get to Gloucester Services, although I would have liked to have got a little bit further. They have a lovely farm shop here, but it is so expensive. Occasionally, if I stop here, I do treat myself, and I do really like their runny yolk Scotch eggs. I make sure that I put myself on break, and then I get all my shower stuff together. It feels a bit early to have a shower, but I don't know if I'm going to get one later, so I might as well have one now. I'm greeted with this lovely dribbly shower with yellow grout around the tiles because that is all the rage in service station showers. Then it's back to the truck, all nice and clean. So Google Maps is telling me that to get up to Stockton-on-Tees it's going to be about 4 hours and 4 minutes, which in a truck's going to be a bit longer, and guessing that I will probably meet some traffic, so I don't know if I will do it in the full 4.5 hours. I might have to take a 45 before I get up there, and I'm not sure what time they stop tipping either. I'm not holding out any hope. It is the summer holidays and generally the traffic has been really, really bad. Once my 45-minute break is up, it's out of the services and back onto the M5 northbound, which looked pretty clear as I got on, but further up the road it started to slow down to around 40 miles an hour. Luckily, not very far up ahead, it was only a wide load which I had to go in the third lane to overtake. And it was one of Ascroft's who posts some really nice photos of their trucks on Instagram. I leave the M5 at junction 4A for the M42, and I stay on the M42 until it turns into the A42. At the end of the A42, I pick up the M1 North up until junction 32, where I pick up the M18 for a short distance before I pick up the A1M. Unfortunately, I hit some traffic on the A1M due to roadworks. It's very slow moving and it eats up a lot of my driving time. I now know that I'm going to have to stop for a break before I get up to Stockton-on-Tees. So when I get up to junction 49, I take the A19 and find a lay-by along that route. I've had to pull in for a break. Worst thing is I'm only about 15-20 minutes away. It's 4:15. I'm hoping to get there just before 5:30 when they shut. I have spoke to somebody and they did say they are going to tip me, but I don't want to annoy anyone. I want to get up there, try and tip within the time. It's just nice to know that they will tip me if I am a bit later, so that I can have a better day tomorrow. And I'm quite hungry because all I've had is a banana and some porridge, so I am going to have my tea. And I've got a salad again, surprise surprise. I do like my salads in the summer. Don't like them in the winter, just the summer. Well, that's my 45 done. I just need to try and get out onto this road now. That was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. This road seems to be so busy, I thought I was going to struggle to pull out. Once I get to Stockton-on-Tees, I take the A66, and I just need to pass through these roadworks and I will be there. I speak to somebody on the gate and they point me in the right direction, and I also need to put full PPE on in here as well. I am going to go and speak to that chap just to see if there is anybody around. Well, the good thing is I'm in and I can hopefully tip. I'm in and I've been given permission to tip, but when I spoke to the chap on the phone, he said do not tip until there is someone there to tell you which bay to tip in, because apparently there's 2 different bays that they tip this product in, and it's very important that I get it right. So I got here and someone kindly let me in, but it wasn't somebody who knows. Another truck driver here, and he said, right, what you've got to do, if you've got to speak to somebody, the other shovel driver comes in at 6 o'clock. I'm going to have to wait here for about another 45 minutes until the shovel driver turns up. If I didn't have to have my break, I would have been here 45 minutes earlier and I would have caught the daytime shovel driver. So frustrated. I've got about 50 minutes of driving left once I leave. So what I'm going to do while I'm here is look for somewhere in the area where I can park overnight.
Motors speed. Drive safely.
Well, no one turned up, so I had to go for a little walk because time was starting to get on, and alright, I've got another 2 hours that I can use if I need to, but I would rather get on, and that means that I can start earlier tomorrow. If I can get parked up in the next hour, I can start at 4:30 instead of 5:30. I pull round to the bay and back up in a straight line, ready to tip. This load is a load of fine sand. I undo the tailboard and have a quick look in the back to double check that the load has been loaded safely. Once I'm happy with my position in the load, I can tip up. Sand always takes a little bit longer to come out compared to other aggregate loads like stone. Once I know I'm empty via the Bluetooth weigher, I give it a quick sweep out, as my next load is feed. Right, that's that tipped. Sheet on. Close. I can now take off all my PPE and move on. Let's go. You used to be able to park down this road overnight with a truck, but unfortunately for some reason you can't anymore. On this occasion I would have headed on anyway, as I've only gone 10 minutes into a 10-hour drive, and I want to make the most of it. I'm going to Hull in the morning, so I head back down the A19, and after having a nice dry day, it decides to start raining. That's me all parked up for the evening. I found a lay-by near York. I was hoping to get into an industrial estate, but I just didn't have time to get there. But actually I do have quite a nice view. I've done all my paperwork, but one thing that happened earlier was I had some messages through from the office mobile, and they came across really strange because we have an app on our work phone where we get all our details from, and we get a new number every day to get our own details, and mine got sent through at about 1 o'clock. Now, we don't normally get them through until about 5-6 o'clock, so I thought it was a bit strange, but I'll show you. So it says that Keith laughed at 3831. Now the next message is Keith emphasised 3202. And then I rang them, and then they were trying to remove an exclamation mark. Remove laugh. Oh dear, it did make me laugh, but that's my new number. That's my number for today. Did say that he put his phone in his pocket, so I think he done it all accidentally. And my new number for today is just as good, because I actually went on my manifest and my address for where I'm picking up tomorrow is Hull. No other details, just Hull. I'll find it, I guess. I might know where it's loading just from elimination of what the product is and where I'm taking it to. So that's where I'm going to head in the morning and hope for the best, because there won't be anyone about tonight in the office. Time for a cup of tea. The next day is a little bit chilly, but it is beautiful. I carry on down the A19, around York and down to Hull. And although it's chilly, it's looking like it could be a scorcher of a day. Well, the first place was wrong. I'll try another place. Well, it's not here either, but she has told me where she thinks it is. So that's where I'm gonna head. It's almost like old school trucking, where you just get an address and you have to go around and ask everyone if they know where the place is, without any help from technology. Third time lucky, I am going in to get loaded. All three places were quite close together, so this shouldn't affect my day at all. I still have plenty of time to get down to Somerset with it.